So I just finished the most incredible interview with the former top consultant for Kamala Harris and also Joe Biden. She pulls back the curtain and shares stuff she's never shared on any other podcast. For example, did you know that it costs $100,000 to take a photo with Barack Hussein Obama? She's going to go through all of these details. The interview's incredible. Here's what I would ask of you. Give this video a like, share it with family and friends, especially if they are a Democrat. Go ahead and watch this interview. Okay, I have an incredible interview. Some of the biggest stories in the news: Biden's mental health, cancer. Is this a cover-up? The Jake Tapper book. To help me go through this, I have Lindy Li to give us insight formally from the other side of the aisle. Lindy, thank you so much for joining me.
Stephen, it's always such a pleasure being with you. And when I realized that our interview was today, I just couldn't believe the timing, given everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm excited to go through this. You know, we had you on that last video. It blew up. Everybody in the comments was generous, sympathetic. They see that your eyes have been opened. And we're blessed. We're blessed to have somebody of your intelligence, your work ethic over on our side. Let me just give my audience some background. Lindy Li is a former top political strategist for Kamala Harris, the Democrat Party, now a DNC critic supporting the GOP. I want to get your thoughts on this. I saw on CNN, yes, I watch CNN, but only for the benefit of my audience, whom I love. They were talking about how they were a year ago doing these fake filmed town halls where they could control Joe Biden. They could control the questions, the lighting. If he messed up, there was 3 different camera angles. Everything was rehearsed in order to give him the B-roll footage. Let me play this clip, and then we're going to talk about it together.
And Alex, the fact of the fake town hall is not actually the worst part of the story that you report in the book.
Yes. Other campaigns have used fake town halls. Now, I would say those town halls usually are in addition to real town halls. Joe Biden was doing neither. This fake town hall was in order to film it so they could make it into campaign commercials. They filmed it in Delaware with supporters. But Joe Biden, at this point, this is the spring of 2024, Joe Biden's town hall, which was closed to press, was so bad that campaign officials determined that it was not usable for a campaign commercial. So they took 90 minutes, 2 hours out of the president's day. They filmed an entire town hall, and they determined that it was not usable. Now, some people say this was because Joe Biden was incoherent. He could not really articulate his thoughts in a pithy or even semi-normal way. Some people just said like the lighting was bad. That was sort of the 2 points of view. But the point is, it shows how like what the campaign status was in the spring of 2024 when they were trying to, deal with a candidate that wasn't a decline.
Wait, yeah. Someone told you the lighting was bad?
That's one of the excuses.
You're saying that they spent millions of dollars to stage a town hall? Well, we didn't get the lighting right.
That was one of the excuses.
I mean, unbelievable. And this comes back to the question of how many people were aware of things like that?
Okay. I did not know that there was fake town halls, millions and millions of dollars of donor campaign money being used, and then they end up throwing it out because he's so mentally deficient and unable to articulate himself. What are your thoughts on this CNN clip?
Well, I'm not surprised because it literally happened with me, except it wasn't a fake town hall, but it essentially, it was engineered to a hilt. And let me describe what happened. I hosted Joe Biden down the street at the Philadelphia Sheraton on February 3rd, 2023, 2 months before he announced re-election. By that time, his situation was so bad that I have such disdain for the former DNC chair. Are we allowed to curse on here?
If you need to.
I do need to. The dipshit of the DNC chair was screening questions beforehand, and we were only allowed to ask two questions for a multi-million-dollar event. I have such immense contempt for this man. People like him are the reason why the conspiracy was able to succeed over the last couple of years. But They confiscated our phones. They put my phone in a Ziploc bag, put it in a cubby that I wasn't able to access. They pulled me aside and said, Lindy, don't post anything on social media. They singled me out because they know I'm really prolific on social. But I found it to be very insulting as someone who was a co-host of the event, to be demeaned like that, to be policed. I was born in an authoritarian country. This reeked of authoritarianism. The fact that they controlled and policed every aspect of the event. And the questions were such softballs. They were like, oh, you did such a good job. What was your favorite moment or whatever? It wasn't anything intellectually rigorous. And the whole thing was just such a sham. It really was.
So you've got millions of dollars to put on this event. At this point, are you aware that he is mentally deficient, or is he so insulated and protected that the voices are the outward vocal is he's great, he's just busy?
He's just
how is the
tired,
cover up?
jet lag, always tired, busy. Stephen, I also just want to be intellectually honest with everybody. I will be the first to admit that I had Trump derangement syndrome. I did, and it's really such a shame that I bought into the narrative that the Hunter Biden laptop story was fake. I know now that it was deeply real, and that Antony Blinkin and Jake Sullivan, all the members of the intelligence community that signed the letter that said it was Russian disinformation, they were just lying to us. But I bought it into a lot of these stories, and I'm sorry, I feel duped. I feel like I wasted a number of my years. I thought, if NBC News or ABC News reported it, it must be true. I mean, these are flagship media outlets that all of us grew up with, right? Like, we were literally raised to believe them. So during this time, I really tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. But this is when I started to have serious concerns. And also when I started leaking to the press.
Okay.
Because when I tried to raise it in private, they made me feel like I was dumb and ridiculous. But I did on September 13th, 2023, I raised this concern to the current chair of the party, Ken Martin. He was vice chair at the time. We were in Chicago. We had a dinner with Kamala Harris and Anita Dunn. You've probably seen Anita Dunn's name in the coverage the last couple of days because she was one of our unelected presidents. She was one of Biden's senior advisors. But we were at a dinner with Anita Dunn, Kamala Harris, and also that dude from The Wire, Wendell Pierce. Do you know the guy?
No.
He said shit. Have you seen The Wire?
No.
Oh, good show. You got to see it.
Okay.
Anyway, the three, people like them were there. I brought my brother, and David Ignatius had just dropped an article in the Washington Post saying that Biden should not run it for a second term. And so I said, did you see the op-ed? What do you think? Don't you think that Biden's age is a concern? I said it in the most polite, the most quintessentially Asian way possible, like an unoffensive, demure, but I had serious concerns. And I said, don't you think maybe we should reconsider this? And Ken poo-pooed me. He dismissed me outright, made me feel completely stupid, and just gaslit me in front of my brother, actually. It was just very embarrassing. And so that is sort of feedback that we would get anytime we would raise this concern. I felt like I was the only one who could see that the emperor didn't have any clothes on.
Wow. Do you think it took somebody like George Clooney, who has lots of money, lots of clout, lots of relationships in Hollywood, and he sees Biden for the first time and he goes, holy crap, we just raised like over $20 million and the emperor has no clothes. What were your thoughts when he came forward?
I co-hosted that event. It was in the middle of June in Los Angeles. It was with Julia Roberts as well, actually. And I didn't bother going because by that time I was so disillusioned with the party. Like, people think I was an opportunistic, whatever, that I left the party immediately. No, this has been a years long departure. Like, this is the long goodbye. I gave the party every chance to provide answers, to explain. I really didn't. This is the truth. I didn't want to go because the party that I joined 15, 20 years ago was the Clinton party, like the party of the middle class, everyday American values, welfare reform, you know, like steady basic principles. But anyway, at that event, Obama played a huge role because people weren't giving money for Biden. People were giving money for Obama. Let's be very clear. The draw that night was Obama.
Okay.
By that time, I think a lot of people, and the coverage is a little bit skewed. I think a lot of people already knew by that time that Biden was a vegetable. People came to get a picture with Obama, and it was $100,000.
For one photo?
$25,000 for George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and I think I'm breaking news right now.
Oh my gosh! I had
haven't
no
seen this in
idea.
any reporting, but here it is. You get intel, and I know because I was a co-host.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but thing is, it's not surprise. It's like not a shock to me because that's just the way things are in the DNC. And also why donors have so much power, because people who can rally that much cash are very much in demand. So Obama met with a group of influencers before the event. He was the one rallying the troops. Obama was the one shepherding Biden off the stage. And I actually gave my VIP seats to the brothers from Midas Touch. You know Midas Touch?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I gave it to them because I really, Stephen, I got to tell you, at that point, I really wanted nothing to do with this stupid party. Like, you know, I was just so done, so over it. But they got my seats. So they were seated in front with Hunter Biden. And that's another thing that bothered me exceedingly. Hunter Biden is a degenerate. He's a drunk degenerate. And even when I was in the party, I was frankly embarrassed to be seen with him, because if your dick is hanging out, you should really, in front of the world, you should really not show your face again, let alone at these events, at these prestigious events, or on the South Lawn of the White House. Like, do you have any shame? If someone had photos of me cavorting with prostitutes, and I don't even know the proper word for cocaine. Do you snorting cocaine? I don't even do marijuana. So, you know, if someone had pictures of me engaging in such activities, I would never want to emerge out of my home again. Instead, Hunter Biden is like, he's always seated in the front row acting like royalty. What the press hasn't really mentioned is that this was round 2. This event, round 1 was at Radio City Music Hall on March 28th, 2024. The Hollywood event was in June. I was a co-host for the Radio City Music Hall event. That was with Stephen Colbert, Obama, Biden, and Clinton. And that one was a disaster too. Biden had such tremendous difficulty articulating himself. And also, here's another thing. Peter Neal, who married Naomi Biden, was so drunk and hitting on me that night. And it was deeply uncomfortable. I tried to be nice, but it was just made me very uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, there's so much that I haven't said.
I remember Obama walking him off.
That was a June event.
Yeah, he was this feeble, old, confused man. I didn't realize how much Obama was still involved.
Obama was so involved. This was his 4th. He was running for his 4th term. Didn't you see him fighting for his life on the hustings, on the stump in the fall of Kamala? He was fighting for his legacy. He was fighting for himself. And Obama, frankly, was one of the people who has lost the most credibility as a result of the 2024 loss.
Yeah.
I know a lot of donors, although I'm no longer part of the world, I do still have like 1 or 2 friends left. And they were just telling me how, yeah, Stephen, like everyone has abandoned me on that side. But I do have like 1 friend left, and she tells me people are so pissed at Obama for the way that he handled everything.
Nobody likes to be lied to, and nobody likes to be tricked. And when they find out that you're not the fountain of truth, but you are the fountain of lies, nobody wants to drink from that ever again.
Exactly. That's amen. Totally right. And the thing is, he had the farthest way to fall too, because he used to be the saint, you know, the hero of the Democratic Party. And now everyone's scales have fallen away from people's eyes. Although I stopped, you know, respecting him in 2010, 2011. Yeah, that quickly, I quickly became disillusioned. But, you know, so much of this is Obama's fault. He sent out a tweet a few hours after the debate saying everyone has bad debates. He could have nipped it in the bud. But it went on for an entire month, remember?
Yes.
And then we had to drag him kicking and screaming. Frankly, the election was over on July 13th. There was no way anyone would have beaten President Trump in the way that he carried himself with such composure and self-possession. If someone had taken a shot at me, Stephen, you better believe I would have been screaming my head off.
I know. Not only did he get up and pump fight, but the next day he's out doing events. That weekend, I think, was the
He had the convention
I mean,
afterwards.
he just went out very stoic, like a great general, and was like, it is time to win. You know,
I completely agree. An election was won on that day. Anything that the Democrats did afterward was basically just going through the motions, because there's no way that anyone could have. He became if he wasn't before, he became an American icon that day.
Losing weight can feel like an uphill battle, especially with the American diet. From nasty seed oils that hurt us to high fructose corn syrup that actually makes us more hungry. Americans have wrecked their gut health. This is where ThermoTrim steps in as a smart, science-backed solution. This USA-made fat burner starts by restoring your gut health. ThermoTrim has a gut bacteria found in thinner people, but not heavier Americans. ThermoTrim helps restore that so you can lose weight. It supports digestion and curbs cravings naturally. Have you tried other products to lose weight and change your health? I have. ThermoTrim is what my body needed. Get ThermoTrim to improve your gut health and start losing weight today. Visit redlineremedies.com or snap the QR code. Make sure to use code Gardner to get an additional 20% off today. We all feel better when we lose weight, and I want you to live a long and happy life. Yeah. Let me roll a clip with you, and then I want to go a little bit deeper on what we've been discussing.
Oh God, I saw this.
How big a factor was the Hunter stuff?
I think it was considerable. I think Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
It's bizarre because I think he is provably, demonstrably unethical, sleazy, and prone to horrible decisions. I mean,
Tell me how you really feel.
well, I mean, I'm just look at the record. I mean, after his brother died, he cheated on his wife with his brother's widow and then got her addicted to crack. That's just one thing I could say. I mean, I don't have a lot of personal regard for him, and just based on having nothing to do with, I barely have ever met him. I've met him like once or twice, but I knew Bo. Bo was a great, upstanding guy.
I knew him too. Really,
A real loss for the country too, not just for his family, for the country. But Hunter is not that, and the idea of letting him drive the family car, as it were, is just really, really questionable.
Okay. Want to get your thoughts on that, but I want to say this first. Katie Couric hates Donald Trump and MAGA voters like I've never met somebody. She went on Bill Maher's show and was just talking about how awful MAGA voters are. They're stupid. They're destroying the country. Anyway, what's weird to me is she knows all of these things about Trump, but she's like disregards them in order to continue her hate towards MAGA voters. Like, it's so weird to me. Is that just part of Trump derangement syndrome?
It totally is. And Stephen, now that I've been on the receiving end of this insanity and hatred, by the way, I just want to mention there's this leftist journalist hack. I don't want to even name her because she's just using me for fame. She promised she begged me for a rough draft of my manuscript of my book. She promised me she wouldn't bring it up during the interview, but she did anyway and asked me questions about it and try to use gotcha questions to ruin me. So I mention this because I have experienced firsthand how deceptive these commies are. They're just leftist hacks. And it's not journalism. It's completely propaganda. And I'm sickened by Jake Tapper because he knows that he's in trouble. So he's basically bashing Hunter Biden to rehabilitate his own reputation. Why didn't he say this last year? He just said he's known Hunter for years. Why he didn't just wake up one day and realize that he was scum. He must have known for years, like all of us knew. I did my best and I avoided him. Like I didn't Jake Tapper is literally the worst. He's one of the people who was most vocal out there. He attacked Laura Trump. Like, who attacks Laura Trump? Actually, I'll tell you who attacks Laura Trump. Laura and I actually bonded over this. Jamie Harrison, the dipshit that I mentioned earlier, attacked Laura Trump. It's like kicking a small puppy. She's never harmed anybody. And just watching that interview with Jake and Laura is so excruciating. You can tell that she's so deeply hurt because under no circumstances would she ever shame anyone for having a stutter. But us having a stutter is not Biden's problem.
He never had a stutter before that.
Like having a melting brain was the actual problem.
Yeah. I've listened to so many of his speeches and I'm like, where's the stutter? This dude's extremely articulate.
Yeah, remember in 2012 when, to be fair, he clobbered Paul Ryan, right? Like even as a conservative, you admit that. Like everyone realizes, he did a much better job than Paul Ryan. But then you can see the descent, and he's never been the same ever since. So suddenly the stutter materialized out of thin air conveniently the moment his brain really starts to deteriorate. And I just they lied about this. I actually think that Biden has had cancer for years, and they lied about that too. I just don't believe them. I just don't believe anything they say. And I sorry to talk your ear off. I'm just I wish the scales from my eyes had fallen sooner. I wish it didn't take all of this, but I was so deep in it, it's hard.
Yeah, no, I said to you on our first interview, I wish I had met you and just gently said, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. I think you would have looked at it and been like, that's really interesting. Do you think, just based on what Jake Tapper said, this guy's in the White House, he's calling the shots, he's the one running the family. Any chance Hunter Biden is one of the people that was using the Autopen, abusing the Autopen?
I don't know about the pen, and I don't want to say anything I didn't see not with my own eyes or know firsthand. I do know that he was running meetings, high-level meetings in the Oval Office, in the West Wing, an unelected crack addict. This was a guy whom Biden called the smartest man I know. Come on. Really? Come on now. This is a guy who blew his kids' college money on hookers. And I don't even need to go into the fact that, he was sleeping with his dead brother's wife shortly after Beau passed. The whole family is just so weird. Just so weird. Like in 2022, I used to live down the street, actually. I moved, but Stephen, this is bizarro stuff. And that I just feel comfortable with you. So I'm just talking to you and just spilling out my heart.
Give me the tea.
But in 2022, I used to live down the street in Rittenhouse Square until BLM burned down my street and I actually moved. The summer of love, right?
Yeah.
My entire street smelled like rubber for a month and I had to keep the windows closed. I couldn't even open it. I've since moved. You can't really burn down a skyscraper. But anyway, I was walking down the square and I just turned my head and I looked in the alleyway. I was like, that cannot be Ashley Biden. It was totally Ashley Biden. and she had plain clothes Secret Service with her. She was smoking a cigarette, which I think is anyway. She was smoking a cigarette in the middle of an alleyway in the middle of the night. I cannot attest to her sobriety. I don't drink. I was just like walking home from work or something. And it's just so weird. She's just like hanging out by herself, and Secret Service agents were just like standing close by. It's just such an odd situation.
They get a smoke break when she does, I guess.
And then she and I know each other. We've seen each other at events. I have to be fair, she's very sweet to me. I have to be fair, and I would never characterize someone as something that they're not. And she's always been kind and sweet to me. Then again, she knows that I was funding her dad. So you can take that as you will. But guess who threatened to sue me after my Sean Ryan interview?
Her. Yeah.
I have a screenshot. She put it on her Instagram story, and there were so many typos. Her spelling was horrible. She said she's never met me.
Wow.
I have like 5 photos with her.
You know who's really sweet is that blonde lady that Hunter Biden knocked up, and then they pretend like it's.
Oh my God! You mean London Roberts?
Yeah, I interviewed her, and I told my wife, "Wow, what a sweet lady." Too bad she got tangled up with Hunter Biden and the Biden. Oh yeah,
I've never met her before.
Never met her. That looks like you never meeting her.
I have more. Like there's so many.
Who do you think was running the Autopen? If you just like,
I don't think it's one person. I will give you 5 people.
Okay.
Steve Ricchetti, senior counselor, White House counselor. Anita Dunn, White House senior advisor. Mike Donnellan, basically best friend in chief. He was a guy who was charging the campaign $4 million to do shit. By the way, money that I raised. When people steal your money, you really start to see things a different way.
Yeah.
Like people who question my exit, ask yourself how you would feel if someone stole millions of dollars from you and your friends. Just ask yourself before you question me.
The main reason I learned who you were is you did an interview where you said, Kamala Harris, where's the money? And I was like, ooh, she's not supposed to ask that on TV. She's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I did get in trouble. And did I mention that I haven't slept last night? You know what I spent all night doing?
What?
They've been vandalizing my Wikipedia page. Someone completely rewrote my page and connected me with scumbags like Sam Bankman-Fried, whom I've never even met. I read it. I was like, what? It is so over the top. So all night I was guarding my Wikipedia page. They will do everything they can to ruin me because they know that I'm telling the truth. It's been 7 months now. Nobody has no one has provided any receipts in terms of how I was wrong. They're only calling me, words like slut and whore, but no one has demonstrated where I was wrong because they know they cannot attack me on the facts. They have to falsely and basely assassinate my character and pull shenanigans like vandalizing my Wikipedia. It's so ridiculous. But I've given them 7 months, right? Since November. I've given them 7 months to say where I was wrong. I was the one who said they waste. Actually, Trump posted about what I was saying. I was one who exposed the millions that were spent on Beyonce and Cardi B. That was me, right? I was the only fundraiser out there talking about it. I've given them more than half a year to say, oh, she's lying, whatever. All they have is name calling and making up stupid stuff.
Yeah, they don't care about you. They just care about money and power.
I couldn't agree more.
So if you aren't going to be a great source of fundraising, then goodbye, you're gone, right? Like you're nothing to them now.
The party of diversity, You know who? It's not the Republicans being racist to me. It's the Democrats calling me. I can't even say it. I just can't even say it. It hurts so much, but you can fill in the blank. It's not conservatives doing that. No way.
No.
This is the party of DEI, by the way. They only care about it when it's convenient for them. And honestly, I'm not even the right kind of diverse for them. They only like Black and brown people. Let's just be honest.
Well, they can't benefit from Asian people, and they can't benefit from the Asian story. Like, oh, their divorce rate's really low.
Because we work hard and we don't take handouts. We work our asses off. We don't rely on the government. We don't do welfare. That's not us. We come here the right way. We don't invade the southern border. My dad went to Harvard Medical School. Now my dad has a real estate investment company that employs hundreds of people. Okay, we created American jobs. We didn't take a handout. We're not parasites. So it goes against the narrative. It's not convenient for them.
Yeah, you would be the opposite of the poster girl for the Democrat Party.
Exactly. And when I complained about affirmative action because it discriminates against white and Asians, they call me a racist. This was like years ago. I was like, how is this fair? I got a 2390 on my SATs and I got waitlisted by Harvard. WTF? If I were Native American, actually I love Native Americans, but like, sorry, I don't mean to pick on like Native Americans, but honestly, if I were Black and I had a 2390 score, I would have been Pope by now.
Yeah. And you would want someone of that intelligence to be in a leadership position,
But I got, Harvard, the kingdom of woke, doesn't want Asians, and so it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this, just in our final minutes together. I'm also reading that many of Joe Biden's meetings were scripted. They literally brought someone in who knew how to do TV. They scripted it. They had people in certain positions, multiple camera angles in case he did something, fell asleep, whatever. Like, how are we ever supposed to trust the Democrat Party now that we've seen behind the curtain and we see you are a facade?
They're a cabal of liars and should never be trusted again. They should never be anywhere close to power. And I don't know if you noticed, but in the back of the picture that you showed us, it was Jen O'Malley Dillon. That lady over there looking really,
in glasses or the
in
next
glasses,
Janet
Jen
Yellen.
O'Malley Dillon. And let me tell you who the person is to her right. His name is Bruce Reed. And what Bruce Reed used to do is when Biden used to walk to Marine One, Bruce would shuffle along to cover his stumbling gait. To cover,
I've seen that guy. Okay.
What they would do is like people like Anita Dunn and Bruce Reed and Mike Donilon would just form a phalanx around Biden. So it wouldn't be as obvious that this guy can't really walk. And Anita used to send me emails. I have receipts.
How do we tell the rest of the Democrat Party you're being just lied to and milked for money, and then they're using
I'm literally trying to. Do you not see them? They destroy me. They try to destroy me every day. I've been trying to say this for, it just they would rather destroy the critic than accept reality. That their party is literally a cabal of pathological liars who will do everything they can to hold on to power. Not to mention the lunacy around like LGBTQI+. Every year there's another letter added. I can't even keep track. I don't even know what half the letters mean, frankly. It's just such a shame. I will say though, given the fact that Biden used to be moderate back in the day when he had a brain, if he were fully in control, I don't think the White House would have had gone so hard for the trans stuff. Because as a Catholic, and he wasn't just a Catholic, he was like a deeply devout Catholic, I think he would have been deeply uncomfortable with a lot of the stuff that's going on, like I am and like most of the country. But he wasn't aware of a lot of what's going on. The night of the debate, I was with him. He said, "Tell your husband I said hi." Stephen, I'm not married.
So he just didn't even know who he was talking to.
But he remembered my name, but he completely forgot that I'm not married.
Yeah. What do you think about this? President Trump said Joe Biden was not for open borders.
Oh, so Trump is kind of taking my point of view here.
Yes, yeah. He goes on to say, look at his record. He was a moderate. He was not for illegal immigration. He wasn't. This just came out. Well, I guess it came out a day ago. But he basically.
It's always interesting when the Trumpster takes your point of view.
Yeah. And he said that they tricked him over and over again because he was mentally deficient. This is treason at the highest level.
This is 25th Amendment stuff.
Yeah.
Truly it is. And Jake Tapper is trying to rehabilitate himself. He should never be rehabilitated. And it makes me sick that he's going to make so much money off of this book. Frankly, I like that he's being exposed as a scam artist. At least some of us had the courage to speak up before the election. Like when I went on Fox News Sunday in July 2024, that was when did I tell you about this?
No.
I can't remember if I told you. I went on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream to urge Biden to step aside because of his issues. And the White House called me the day before saying, we know you're going to be loyal. We know you're the president's most loyal supporter. It's like totally Tony Soprano stuff.
Yes.
But I said it before the election. Where the hell was Jake then? He was still out there shilling for the Biden regime or the Harris regime. And now he's like parading around like a conquering hero. It's so sick to me. Like some of us, I actually lost. If I had remained where I was, I would have remained at the upper echelon of that party. My life was comfortable. I don't really need any of this. I sacrificed relationships. I'm basically rebuilding my entire life to do this. I actually might even move from Philadelphia because this is not a welcoming place for conservatives. And then to see Jake so opportunistically doing this is just, honestly, it makes me a little bit ill.
Yeah, I had Dave Rubin on.
He's great. I really like him.
Yeah, and he said to me, I don't know how he sleeps at night. I said, I do, with millions and millions of dollars. Like this is a money grab. This is a total money grab.
Yeah. But also I like, how much is mental health? How much is your peace though? Maybe he just doesn't care. I have an overactive conscience, so I wouldn't be able to live with myself like that. But maybe he's just different. Maybe he doesn't feel anything. I feel secondhand shame on his behalf. I really do. There's a difference between not speaking up about Biden's decline, but when you are actively attacking people for bringing it up and then being complicit, attacking people like Laura Trump, who never did anything wrong, and then being one of the most vocal supporters of the Biden regime. They did so much damage to this country. I have friends, just speaking with a mom, a friend who lost her daughter to the trans insanity. And it's just not one isolated incident. There's countless families who've been devastated by this. By the plague of woke. So yeah, what Jake Tapper did had real life consequences.
I've had a thought just as we wrap up here. I keep thinking, what a shame that you had to leave the Democrat Party because they need good people. And yet what a blessing for our side to receive another great person. Like big loss for them. major win for us. That's how I see it. But I
And
just feel bad
also,
for them.
I want to say there's nothing like the zeal of a convert. There are some conservatives, understandably, who still may be skeptical of me. I mean, I probably would be too. I don't know. I know I know my heart. So but there's nothing like someone who just, for the first time in her life can say the truth. The person that I love most in life used to cringe when I was with him in lifts and Ubers because I would just be spouting right-wing talking points in the middle of Philadelphia. And he'd be like, oh my God, you're going to get us in so much trouble. But now for the first time in my life, I can just talk. I can just be, I don't have to worry about being canceled because with conservatives, people are understanding. You can have different views. You can have moments of disagreement and they're not going to cancel you over it. I agree with the conservative agenda on almost everything. I'm probably more far right on immigration than Trump is. I want to halt almost all immigration unless it's extremely high skilled, like people who can actually strengthen our economy.
Yeah.
I don't think we should grant asylum. I don't think people should have a right to be here. Being American is a privilege. It's not something it's not something that we owe to random people around the world. I just don't believe that. But I don't agree. I'm also environmentalist too. It's just, so I'm not 100% aligned, but it doesn't matter because conservatives embrace you. It's not about that. But in the Democratic Party, if you don't march with them in lockstep, they will crucify you.
Wow.
They will excommunicate you. Just a completely different mentality. They are not the party of acceptance, actually. It's the conservatives, conversely, who are, ironically.
You need to come to Utah sometime. There's so many like MAGA people out here, and they're funny. I mean, like down the street from me, for 4 years there was a flag that said, "I hate Joe Biden, and so does my dog." Like, it's funny.
You speak of Utah. I was thinking of you because I was listening to the radio, and they were saying how Utah finally got rid of its fluoride.
Yes, yeah, we were the first in the nation. Yeah.
I mean, I live in Pennsylvania. There's no hope here. But I'm really proud of you because, it was like forced medication.
Yeah. Hey, I'll one up you. Utah was the first state to let women vote. Bam!
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yep. So Utah is like progressive, conservative. We were one of the first with like stem cell technology, the internet. Lots of really great stuff has come out of Utah. A lot of really smart people here. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And who is I want to say one last thing, and it's kind of policy related. We need to do more to take the environment back, in that Democrats have had a monopoly on clean air and clean water. We need to take that back. This isn't about the Green New Deal. I don't give a shit about that. I think that's crazy socialist engineering. This is not me talking about global warming. This is me talking about clean air and water, something everyone can get behind. Why is this a liberal issue? This should be our issue. And you know who started it? It was Richard Nixon. Okay? Yeah. We need to take it back. And you know who was the best? Actually, I worship Theodore Roosevelt. I have the entire trilogy up there by Edmund Morris. There's my bookshelf. But Teddy was the one who said we got to take care of our natural landscapes, of our heritage, of these landmarks. We need to take that legacy back because right now it's been hijacked by the Democrats.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's one reason people like RFK Jr. and could get behind that. I mean, he cleaned up the Hudson River. He's been trying to clean up water and air and medical. And so, he's someone that not everybody agrees with everything. I don't agree with everything that he says, but we need these bold leaders. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot more. I think on the conservative side, we just don't want it crammed down our throat.
Exactly.
But we are for, like, I guarantee you more Republicans fish and hunt than Democrats.
Absolutely.
So why not get behind that? But Trump even said that, like, hunters for the NRA, if you would just come out and vote, we would win. But you guys don't vote. So they've got to learn how to appeal to those people that do love the environment,
You're absolutely right. No one should be cramming anything down anyone's throats. This is just about reclaiming our American legacy as the most beautiful nation on earth, and, you know, preserving Yosemite and preserving the Grand Canyon, you know, things like that, like things that people can all get behind.
Yeah. Well, Lindy, this has been a great discussion. You've broken some interesting stories. I can't wait to see what my people say in the comments. And I know that they'll be generous towards you because they're just good-hearted, God-fearing, America-loving
I see
viewers.
that every day. You guys have my back. I have your back, and I will make you proud. Yeah, it's just like, this has been it's been very hard for me this past year, but also one of the greatest blessings of my life, meeting incredible people like you, Stephen, and all of you out there.
Oh, wow. If people want to follow you online, where can I point them towards?
X would be great. It's Lindy Li, LINDYLI. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
read
make
all
it
your
even
comments.
easier. I'll put a link down below so that people can just click. Lindy, thank you so much. We'll have you on again. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.